So I want to start this video by asking you guys a question, and I'm going to go into a bit more detail as we go through this video, so if you want to take a few minutes to ponder it before you answer down in the comments, if you feel comfortable to do so, then absolutely feel free. But the question is, do you find it easy to identify yourself as a certain type of photographer, i.e. landscape photographer, portrait photographer, street photographer? And how important do you feel it is to have an identity as a photographer and to stick in a photographic lane, so to speak? Now, the reason that I ask this question is because it's something that I've been contemplating over the last few weeks, because as you know, if you followed this channel for any length of time, landscape photography is the thing that I am most passionate about. I was born and raised here in North Wales, a very beautiful part of the world, and it's the beauty of this landscape that inspired me to pick up a camera and photograph it. But in the last 4 years, I started my own photography business doing commercial photography, where I'm photographing all kinds of different subjects, from lifestyle to portraits. And yes, there will be elements of landscape photography. I did a project last month with Transport for Wales, photographing the landscape in Eryri National Park for a new bus route that is going through the area. But those jobs are slightly few and far between, and often people ask me if I meet them for the first time, oh, what do you do for a living? And I say, I'm a photographer. But then they always want to know what kind of photographer I am. And that's where it all kind of comes a bit unstuck for me, because yes, I have a passion for landscape photography, but it's not really the only type of photography that I do. And I wonder if that's a problem. I've always been a bit of a sponge. I consume a lot of photography work from a myriad of different photographers. And I've come to realise that the photographers I truly love the most and keep coming back to are those who just have a visual style, an editing style, or a perspective on the world that resonates with me. The subject matter or the genre of photography or what they're choosing to photograph isn't really important to me. Now, I completely understand that some photographers are just very passionate about one particular genre. There are people who just love landscape photography and don't really have any interest in other genres like street photography and portraiture. But there might be photographers out there who are a bit more like me, who just kind of use the camera as a way of showing, I guess, their perspective and their view on life and experiences. I mean, I take my camera with me absolutely everywhere. And whilst landscape photography is the thing that I'm most passionate about, I think for me, I'm just passionate about photography in general. I love the process of going out with my camera. So yesterday, me and Alex were in a very nondescript town in North Wales where there really wasn't an awful lot going on, but I had a couple of hours to kill because Alex was doing an interview. So I just went for a walk with my camera, went and grabbed a coffee, and there really wasn't very much to photograph, but I enjoy the challenge of just going to new places and just seeing what there is that kind of captures my attention, whether that's kind of colour or texture or story or narrative. And yes, the photos may, to some people, not necessarily be particularly interesting, but you'll be surprised how many photos I have on multiple hard drives of just day-to-day things that just catch my eye. Because for me, I still feel like I'm practicing photography. All these skills of just thinking about composition and picking up a camera and just going with my curiosity are all transferable skills that apply to any genre of photography. That's why for me, I just label myself as a photographer, and I let my curiosity and interest dictate what I choose to shoot. In the long run, the more time I spend with a camera in my hand, the better I'll be at adapting to photographic opportunities, whether those be in the landscape or elsewhere in my commercial work. But if I was just really narrow-minded and very narrow-focused about, oh well, I've decided that I'm a landscape photographer, so all I can photograph is landscapes, I think I'd be missing out on a lot of other things that could pique my interest. The modern world of social media is obsessed with labels and sticking to a lane. If you want to grow an Instagram following, you have to choose what you want to focus on, otherwise your page will never grow or you won't get as many likes. Even here on YouTube, if a landscape photography channel decides to upload a video about street photography and as a result it doesn't get as many views, then the creator may decide not to make another video on that subject, even though they really enjoyed making the video and creating those images. They've effectively allowed an algorithm to dictate whether their work is valuable. Now, I'm not naive enough to think that those numbers don't equate to actual people. I absolutely 100% know they do, because I've had so many great interactions with so many of you guys in the comments and over on Instagram. But a lot of people attach their self-worth as a photographer to the size of the audience that they have, when really I just think that's a bit of a warped metric, because there's plenty of ways that you can fudge the numbers, you know, buying subscribers or followers, and you know, a lot of followers these days are bots anyway. But I think this becomes increasingly difficult if you're a beginner photographer, because there are just so many opinions attached to this idea of a photography style or identity that it can become quite discouraging. And really, I think it's so important to just go with your curiosity, regardless of what the subject is or the genre of photography. Just shoot what interests you. It doesn't really matter about whether it does well on social media or not. We have to remember that photography was around long before social media, and it'll still be around after the current social media trends end. That's why it's so important to just do you. And that's why I asked this question at the start of the video, because I am curious to understand the mindset of other photographers. I'm curious to see what it is you feel on this topic, and I wonder if you ever feel like you can't share work or you can't create certain images because it doesn't feel like it's the thing that you do and it's the thing that you specialize in. Because I think there's just been that opinion for years that it's important to sort of specialize in one style or one genre, because that's the only way to succeed. But I guess my business is proof that having one style isn't really that important. I feel like for me, it's my perspective and it's my view and it's my editing style, it's my visual style that is the thing that makes me hireable. It's not necessarily the subject, and it's that common thread that goes through all my images, I hope, is that there is kind of like a style there, a visual style at least. And I feel like I'm really starting to understand that a bit more now that I'm sort of 4 years into this journey. But I guess I'm just curious as to how you perceive this whole topic. So apologies, there's no real photography in this video. Thanks for all the support on the videos that I've done over the last few weeks from my little trip to Aruri National Park. We've been back for a couple of weeks now, so I haven't been out in the landscape for a little while, but that is due to change. I've got a trip planned in the next couple of weeks, so I'll be able to do some more videos out in the field. But I thought this was a topic worth covering in a video, because I feel like there are a lot of opinions around this, and I feel like having a good, healthy debate in the comments might offer some helpful perspective when it comes to this idea of labeling yourself as a photographer. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks again for all the support, for everybody who follows along and subscribes and watches the videos. It's been so great to be uploading again. Thanks for all of your support on my recent videos. New video will be coming out next week, every Wednesday, so hit subscribe if you haven't already. And if you found this video interesting, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Anyway, I'm going to finish my cup of tea, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.